Alright, and hello everyone, it is me, Jay Burns, and in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this bracelet right here. This bracelet is my own original design, and it is called the Variable X bracelet. So yeah, I got a lot of suggestions to make a tutorial for this bracelet on Instagram when I posted the picture. That's where I post previews for bracelets. And so I was like, I guess I can push some tutorials back and make this one instead, since so many people wanted a tutorial. And yeah, I also asked for name suggestions, and I tried to combine some of the names. I asked for name suggestions, and everybody who commented and gave me a name suggestion, their names will be down in the description, and also what they suggested. And yeah, so thank you everyone who gave a name suggestion. So anyway, now I'm going to explain how you make this bracelet. There's actually there's three variations of this bracelet, so that's why I decided to give it variable in its name. We have this one here, where it looks like there's a T on top. Then we have this other one, this is the variable X. This one has the X on top. And then this is just the variable bracelet, and it doesn't really have a certain shape here on the top. So as you can see here, looks like there's an X crossing over a T on the bottom, and then this one, where it looks like there's a T on top, this is the variable T bracelet, and I'll be making another tutorial for this one. But yeah, so I'll be showing you how to make variable X, and it looks like it has an X on top. And well, to make it, you're going to need a hook, preferably a double-ended hook if you have one, because you will need to slide the bands over and transfer things. Or you can use two hooks, which I actually think this is actually better than double-ended hook, because what you have to do. So if you have like two hooks that are just kind of like this, they're just flat, they don't really have anything like getting like bigger, like a rainbow loom hook. Like there's a lot of room on this hook. If you have two hooks, that would be actually better than having a double-ended hook. But if you only have just a regular hook, like a rainbow loom hook, I will be explaining what you can do if you only have one hook like this. Oh, okay, just rolled off the table. Alright, anyway, you'll also need a clip. Any clip should work as long as it's for rubber band bracelets. And you will also need rubber bands. So, for the rubber bands, the A group here, there's 4 groups. So the A group, they are going to be the border, which is the fishtail stuff here, and they're white in this example. Then the B rubber bands are going to be the crossing rubber bands that are here in the middle, and they're going to be the rubber bands that would make a T shape if you were making the variable T bracelet. So they would be these T bands, which are the B bands. Then the C rubber bands are going to be the rubber bands in the middle that would make an X if you didn't have the T there. So there are what's on top with the variable X bracelet. And then this last group here, these rubber bands are not going to actually be a part of the bracelet, but they're going to help you make the bracelet, and they are the helping bands. And if you just have a regular old hook like a rainbow loom hook, then you're going to want to have 2 of these. And if you have 2 hooks, then you're just going to need 1. And then no matter how many helping bands you need, you're also going to need a helping clip. So get another clip and use that to help you make the design. And I'm going to be using an S clip for that. So yeah. So you figure out how many bands you're going to need, so the A, B, and C bands. Go down to the description. It'll tell you how many rubber bands are in each one of these little sections here. And it's also going to tell you how long each of these sections are. So you'll need to know how long of a bracelet you need to fit around your wrist. And yeah. So without blabbering anymore, use the pause button to get your supplies, and we're going to get started. Alright, So for this tutorial, I'm going to use just a regular hook, because that's probably what most people have. But anyway, what we're going to do to get started is we're going to get an A rubber band, which will be our cap band, and we're going to get 3 B color rubber bands. And these 3 B color rubber bands are going to be going vertically up, so just straight up and down here in the design. And in this example, they are red. So first we're going to take the A rubber band and we're going to make it a cap band on our hook. And to do that, you just take the rubber band, put it on your hook, twist it, and put the other end of the rubber band onto your hook as well. Now you'll take the 3 B color rubber bands and put them on your hook with your cap band. Now we're going to start the fishtail. So we're going to get 2 more A color rubber bands, because they're going to be the fishtail design. And we're going to put them both on our hook, like so. And then these rubber bands we already had on our hook, this cap band and these 3 B color bands, we're going to slide them on to the new rubber bands. And then we're going to put these new rubber bands, the other end here we're holding with our finger, onto our hook as well, like this. Now make sure there's 1 rubber band that's in the middle, and then 1 rubber band that's on the outside. So as you can see here, I have a blue rubber band here on the outside on both sides, and then the purple rubber band is in the middle. So I'm using 2 different colors so you can see what exactly is going on here on my hook. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to get another A color rubber band, put it on our hook, and we're going to do a fishtail stitch. So we're going to take these bands that are already on our hook, slide them onto the new band, and then the 2 little loops so the 1 rubber band that's on the outside before, we're going to pick up the little loops for that band. So the blue rubber band for me was on the outside, so I'm going to take my hook and slide it underneath of that band, putting it back on my hook, and then we'll go to the other side and do the same thing. And make sure those rubber bands that you're putting back on your hook were still on the outside when you put them on. So now this blue rubber band, which was on the outside, is now on the inside, and then the purple band that I just added is now on the outside. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to get another A color rubber band, and we're going to put it on our hook, and we're only going to slide these first 2 little bands here. So this first purple and this first blue for me, we're only going to slide those 2 on to the new rubber band. So we should still have these 2 left. What we're going to do now is, with these rubber bands on the new band, is we're just going to pick up the outside one, or this one closest to your fingers holding the new band, which is purple for me. You're going to put that back on your hook, like you're still making a fishtail bracelet, but you just have one side. And then you can put the other end of the new band onto your hook. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get 3 C color rubber bands. So now we're going to get 3 C color rubber bands, and these C color bands are going to be the X bands that are on top here. And this one we just placed, or this one we're about to add, is going to be this green one. So this green band here. So we're going to take our 3 C color rubber bands, and we're just going to put them on our hook like this. Just put them on, and make sure they're in between the new band that you just put on your hook. Alright. Now we're going to get another A color rubber band, and we're going to do a fishtail stitch with the new band that we just put on our hook, and then that one little loop that we had put back on our hook. So we're going to take the first 3 bands, not including these C-color bands. So I'll just move them to the side. We're going to take this first loop, then this second one, and then this third one. We're going to put them on the new band, and then we're also going to put these 3 C-color bands onto the new rubber band as well. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. And then we're just going to do a regular fishtail stitch. We're just going to take the 2 outside bands and put them back on our hook. And we're just kind of ignoring these C-color bands just to make sure they stay on the new rubber band. So it's this blue band here, and then this blue loop over here. So notice the C-color rubber bands are not back on my hook. They're underneath like that. So make sure that's happening for you. And then once that's true, you've done your fishtail stitch. You can put the other end of the new band onto your hook. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to get 2 A-color bands. First we're going to take one of them. We're going to put it on our hook like so. And we're going to slide these first 4 bands, so these first 4 little loops, onto the new rubber band. So this first purple one, then this blue one, the second blue one, and this purple one for me. Then we're going to do just a regular fishtail stitch. We're just going to pick up the 2 outer loops, which are purple for me. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get 3 B-color rubber bands, and these 3 B-color rubber bands are part of the T shape, and they are blue in this example. So they're going to be these blue bands here. We're going to take these 3 B-color rubber bands, and we're going to put them in the center of the new bands we just placed. Just make sure they get in the middle like this. Then we're going to take the second A-color rubber band, put it on our hook like so. Then we're going to slide. So go ahead and take these 3 B-color bands and put them on the new band. And then these 4 loops here, these first 4 loops here, we're going to slide them onto the new band. So this blue one, these 2 purple bands, and then this blue one here. So we should have these 2 other A-color bands left on our hook. These 2 shouldn't have ever been taken off. Bleh. Right. Then we're just going to kind of ignore these B-color bands here, and we're just going to do our fishtail stitch, and make sure that these 3 B-color rubber bands that are just hanging loosely off of our fishtail here, make sure they do not go back on your hook. Make sure they end up underneath like this when you do your fishtail stitch. And there you go. Now we're just going to need 2 more A-color rubber bands. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add them to the bracelet. So we're going to take one of the A-color rubber bands, put it on our hook, and just do a regular old fishtail stitch. Make sure you ignore these 2 bands at the end. So just do a regular fishtail stitch here. Then, before we add the second A-color band, we're going to get our last 3 C-color rubber bands. So the last 3 crossing bands for the design. And in this example, they are going to be these purple bands. So these 3 C-color bands are going to be on the very top that we're placing right now. And we're just going to go ahead and put them on our hook. Make sure they're kind of like in the middle here. Then we're going to get the other A-color band, put it on our hook like so. And then we're going to just go ahead and take these 3 C-color bands and put them on the new band. And then we're going to do just a regular fishtail stitch. And take those 4 loops, blue one, these 2 purples, and then this last blue for me. And we're just going to go ahead and do a regular fishtail stitch. We're just going to ignore these 3 C-color bands. Oh, and make sure they end up in the middle. There we go. So just do a regular old fishtail stitch. And there we go. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to add one more A-color rubber band. So just take one more and do a regular fishtail stitch. And now, once you've done that, you're going to get one of your helping bands. Just go ahead, do your fishtail. Oh, she didn't twist anything. Right, so now what you're going to do, once you've done that last fishtail stitch there, you're going to get a helping band and also your helping clip. So you're going to take your helping band, put it on your hook, and you're going to take these first 4 loops that are a part of this fishtail here we've been working on. We're going to put those onto the helping band. Then we're going to put the other end of this helping band onto our hook as well, like this. Then we're going to take our helping clip and attach it to the helping band, like so. And then take this off of our hook, but keep these last 2 loops on. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of flip these crossing bands, or B and C bands. And what I mean by flip is we're going to take them, pull them over the helping band and the helping clip, and now they're on the other side of the fishtail. So as you can see here, these green bands, these 3 C color bands here, are on the opposite side of the fishtail when you compare them to the rest of the bands. And we're going to just take them and bring them over to the other side. So we're going to do this for all of them. So we're going to take these 3, pull them up and around. Take these 3, pull them up and around. And then do the same thing for these 3 here. Pull them up and over, like that. Now what we're going to do is, if you just have a regular ribbon loom hook, or just one hook, this is probably where you're going to want to have your second helping band. But if you have 2 hooks, what you would do, so first I'll show you if you have a regular hook. So what you're going to do here is you're going to take your second helping band, and you're going to put it on your hook like so, and pull these 2 bands here onto it. Then what you'll do is you'll take the helping band and grab onto it and just pull the band off. And we're going to flip the bands around, but when we do this, you just take your hook, and instead of putting it going through this helping rubber band, you're going to put it going through all these rubber bands that are on the helping band. So this first blue and purple band here for me. So as you can see, the 2 rubber bands that are on the helping band are what I put on my hook. Now what we're going to do is we're going to also put our hook, or put on our hook, all of the crossing bands, so all of the B and C rubber bands as well. So as you can see, it's already really crowded on our hook. And this is why having a hook like one of these, where there's not really anything on there, is useful. But I'll be showing you what you can do if you only have this hook. Anyway, you're going to put those all on your hook as well. And then these rubber bands that you put on your second helping band, you'll put those onto your hook. So not the actual helping band, but the bands on the helping band. And as you can see here, it's super duper crowded on just a regular hook. And yeah. Now, if you have a second hook, gotta set this up real quick. if you have two hooks instead of just one, what you do is you'll take your second hook, and first you'll put it going through these rubber bands here on the helping band with your helping clip on it, and then all these rubber bands here, the B and C rubber bands, you'll put them on your hook, and then these two bands that are on your first hook, you'll put those onto the second hook last, and then you can take the first hook and put it off to the side. Alright, so that's what you do if you have a second hook. I'm going to go ahead and continue using the loom hook, the rainbow loom hook. Alright, so if you have a rainbow loom hook, what you can do, or just like a hook like it, what you can do is take these bands here that are on the helping band and just kind of pull them back onto the part where it just gets bigger. So pull it back like that, and put it on the actual part where you would hold your hook, and that'll make everything so much easier for you. And then now what we can do is continue. Right, so much explaining there. Alright, so now we need to make sure that these rubber bands here, these two loops here that are going to become the other side of the border, we need to make sure they are in order. It rhymed. And if you have two different colors for your A color bands, it's pretty easy to tell which should be on the outside. You look at your cap band, and then the other rubber band, it needs to be this one here on the outside. Alright, anyway, make sure you have your B and C bands in order as well. And what we're going to do now is, once everything's all in order, you've checked and everything, you're going to get an A color band, put on your hook like so, and take these first two loops, put them on your hook, and do a fishtail stitch with just these two bands. And you're just going to grab, so what you're just going to put back on your hook is this band here that is closest to your fingers holding the new band. And it's this purple band for me. So you put that back on your hook, kind of like you're doing a fishtail stitch. And then you put the other end of this new band onto your hook as well. Alright, so now for the design here. So now what we're going to do is, instead of getting new B and C rubber bands, which you shouldn't have any more of those for this first part here, instead of getting new ones, what we're going to do is use these that we just put on our hook, and we're going to first take these three C color rubber bands, which are furthest away from the actual part of our hook, and they are green in this tutorial, so they're this neon green. And what we're going to do is we're going to take them both, or we're going to take all three of them, and we're going to pull them up and over all of the other B and C rubber bands, so all the crossing bands. We're going to kind of put them in the middle here of the A color bands. And we need to get everything separated from these three bands. Alright, so make sure you have all the rubber bands you need for the fishtail stitch, so for the fishtail, and then you also need these three C color bands. And I like to put my finger here in the middle to separate everything, so nothing gets all mixed up. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take another A color band, once we have it all organized and separated. We're going to take another A color band and put it on our hook. And then these three A color rubber bands, which are going to be a part of the fishtail, we're going to put them on the new band. And then we're also going to put these three C color bands that we had crossed over everything, we're going to put them onto that new band as well. Right? Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a fishtail stitch, but make sure you don't pick up the C color bands. So you just do a regular fishtail stitch, and if the C color bands try to get back on your hook, just make sure you take them back off, like that. So this is where the bracelet gets really hard to make. Alright. Everything's all moving around and stuff. Alright, there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get another A color rubber band, and we're going to do the fishtail stitch again with these 4 A color bands now, or loops. So just go ahead and do a regular fishtail stitch. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get a second A color band, and before we add it, what we're going to do is we need to get these 3 B color bands in the middle here. So what we're going to do with these 3 C or B color bands over here, and the B color bands make the T shape in the middle. So if you were making the variable T, they would be on top. And the 3 we're about to kind of add to the fishtail are going to be these horizontal ones. And as you can see here on the variable X bracelet, the X is what's on top, and not the T. And if we were to just take these 3 B color bands and just pull them up and over and do the same thing we did with the 3 C color bands, we would end up with just the variable bracelet, which doesn't really have a shape in the middle. So what we do is we take these 3 C color bands, which are orange for me, and they're kind of in between. So these 3 C color bands in the very middle here, we take them and we pull those over these 3 B color bands here in the back. So we can do something like this here. So we cross these 3 C color bands over the 3 B color bands. Instead of the bands that were in the back and crossing them over, we're crossing these 3 that were in the middle over. So I'll show you again. So these 3 here that are in the middle, you cross those over instead. So there we go. Alright. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take these 3 B color bands that were in the back before, but now they're in the middle. What we're going to do is just go ahead and pull those over the 3 B color bands in the very front, and kind of get them in the middle there. And then you can use your finger to keep everything separated. And now we're going to take this other A color band and put it on our hook, like so. And we're going to go ahead and do our fishtail stitch. Make sure you put these 3 B color bands on there. And we're just going to go ahead and do our fishtail. And there we go. Alright, so now we've got 2 of the crossy bands finished. Now we just need to do 2 more. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get another fishtail A color rubber band, and we're going to do a regular old fishtail stitch. So just go ahead and take the bands you need off your hook and put them on the new band. Do a fishtail stitch there. Now we're going to get another A color rubber band, and before we add it, we're going to get these 3 B color bands here, or 3 C color rubber bands, sorry, which are in the back, and we're going to take them both, or we're going to take all 3 of them, and we're just going to pull them over these 3 B color bands in the front. Then we can just use our finger to keep everything separate. Make sure this B color or the C color band's gonna get there in the middle. And then we're just gonna go ahead and do the same thing we've done before. So take the A color band. We're gonna go ahead and do our fishtail stitch. Don't forget those 3 C color bands. And we're going to go ahead and do our regular old fishtail stitch as usual. There we go. And then we're just going to take one more A color band, put it on our hook, and do a regular fishtail stitch one more time. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do something here with our helping band and helping clip. So we're going to take the helping clip and the helping band off of these 4 little loops here at the end. So go ahead and take those off and put them off to the side so you can use them for the next little section. And now you have all these bands here on your hook. You have all these A color bands and then these 3 B color bands, which should be the vertical ones that are going to go vertically up and down, like these red ones in the example. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take one A color band and put it on our hook. Then slide all of these rubber bands that are on our hook onto the new band. And instead of just closing it off and putting the other end of this new band onto your hook, what we're going to do is we're going to take the 2 outside loops, kind of like we're still making a fishtail, but there's actually 2 fishtails here on our hook, so we're just going to take the outside band of all of these bands here. So this first loop, and then this very last one. Then we're going to put the other end of the new band onto our hook, and we should have something like this here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and work on the next one. So, the pattern for making this takes a really long time this thing takes a long time to make, and it's already 30 minutes in, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you how you start another section, and then all you'll have to do is just go back a few minutes, or well, a lot of minutes in the tutorial to where I start telling you how to make this, because it will be the same every time. Alright, now before we do start over, if you want the X's on your bracelet to all be crossing the same direction, so either all going from from the bottom left to the top right, or from the top left to the bottom right, if you want them all to cross the same way, then what you're going to do is you're going to take these bands that are on your hook, kind of squeeze them together. You're actually going to flip them around. So if you want to use your helping band for this, then you probably should do that. But you'll need to flip the bands around if you want all of the X's to cross in the same direction. If you want them to cross in different directions so that they vary, so sometimes it crosses from the top left, and sometimes it crosses from the bottom left, which I would kind of snuck in here. If you want something like this, then you'll just leave the bands on your hook as they are. But that's just a little mini variation of this bracelet. Yeah, so now I'm going to go ahead and show you how you start the next one, and then you'll just need to go back to the time that I'll have it down in the description where you need to go back to, so you can, if you need to go back and see the instructions again. So, to start a new section for this bracelet, before you add any bands, you're going to take 3 B color bands, and they're going to be the vertical bands here. And you just put them on your hook in the middle of all the bands on your hook right now. Then you take these first two loops here, you take them off your hook, but hold on to them. So if you want to use a helping band for this, you can. You're also going to slide these B color bands off as well. Then you'll put these A color bands, these first two A color bands, back on your hook. And then you have your 3 B color bands just sitting there, waiting for you to continue and for you to add them to the bracelet. So that's how you get it started. And then to actually start making the fishtails, you just use these first 2 loops for one fishtail, and then these other 2 will be the 2 that just sit there while you make one side. So you just go ahead and take another A color band, you pull it going through, do a fishtail stitch. So just these first 2 bands you pull an A color band through, and then you just pick up this one A color band here, and then you go ahead and start over the pattern. So yeah, you're going to go ahead and continue making this bracelet, continue the pattern for making this bracelet over and over till you've made the bracelet long enough to fit around your wrist. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and show you how you finish this thing off. So, oh, and the time you need to go back to is in the description if you need to go back and see the instructions again. So anyway, now I'm going to show you how you finish this thing off. So, you need to have one entire little section of the bracelet, so you need to have this on your hook to finish the bracelet off. You're just going to take an A color band, put it on your hook, and pull it through everything on your hook. And then you just put the other end of the band onto your hook. Now if you want a more of a fishtail finish, kind of like this one here, what you can do is you can actually continue the fishtail. So take a band and pull it through everything on your hook and do a fishtail stitch again. And then you can take a second band, put it on your hook, and pull everything through it. But I kind of prefer the first way. But anyway, that's how you close, or well, that's how you kind of close off the design with bands. Once you have this last A color band on there, however you wanted to close it, you're going to get your clip, so your actual clip for the bracelet, put it on this last band here that's on your hook, then take the bands off of your hook once the clip is on, and there you go. Then, once it's on there, you take the clip and attach it to your cap band on the other end of your bracelet, which should be the circular rubber band, or sometimes ends up looking like this. You take your clip and you attach it to that end, so that cap band, as well. And then you have your bracelet. And I don't really have a bracelet, I have more of a ring. But, anyway. Now I guess it's time for the outro. So, I would like to thank you for watching my tutorial. Hopefully it showed you how to make the variable X bracelet successfully. Hopefully now you have your bracelet and you're wearing it, you think it's cool and stuff, you're going to make more of these. Maybe make the variable T bracelet. You probably prefer this design. And if you want to give it a try, the variable bracelet, which is a lot easier to make than the X and T. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say for this tutorial, other than thanks for watching and bye.